what I want to tell you is that the job of writers, whether it's Ken Weene or John Steinbeck or William Shakespeare, to put myself in trifling company. Our job is to get you thinking and feeling and imagining the world so that
Yeah.
you connect to it in a different way.
Hello, and welcome to Story Power, a bi monthly podcast I created because I'm an unabashed story lover. Stories have had a huge impact on my life, starting with the family movie night discussions my parents instituted when I was a child. I want to share that love with you. As cognitive scientist Roger C. Shanks says, humans are not ideally set up to understand logic. They are ideally set up to understand stories. I'm making it my mission to not only spread the love of stories, but all the valuable things they teach us about human nature and relationships. We humans are emotional creatures, and stories help us examine our emotions from a comfortable distance. They also help us walk in the shoes of the characters to help us see the world in new ways. It's my hope you gain some valuable insights from my guests. Hello, Story Power listeners. Today I have a special guest, Ken Weene, who happens to live in my state of Arizona. And today is episode 158. And he was just telling me some wonderful stories. And he said, we should start recording this. And I said, yes, we should. So, so welcome, Ken. And I can't wait to hear your stories. I did read several poems from your book, Coursing, and I read The Boat, which is a student written play, right?
Yes,
Correct?
yes,
Yeah. And it was supervised by you and Umar O. Abdul, right?
that's correct.
Yes. And we were just talking about Umar. So welcome. And you also are involved in the Arizona Authors Association. So I want
Correct.
to hear about your writing, about your um, relationship with Umar, and the play The Boat, and the association. So I'll let you start where you want to just start talking.
Well, since you and I were just talking about my relationship with Umar, I don't we start there? And the hope that somebody who's listening may even decide they want to contact you or me and find out more about these plays that Umar and I have been writing, because we'd love to get them performed in the United States. Um, Umar is a college professor in Nigeria,
Mhm.
and he and I met on Facebook.
Oh,
And yeah, I've made some incredible relationships and people I've actually gone and met. I haven't met Umar in person. We've talked on the phone a lot. I've talked to his kids and his wife, and
uh-huh.
but uh, but I've met them, and it's amazing how many wonderful people I have actually met using social media. And Umar is one of them. And he and I met on a playwriting uh, group in
Uh-huh.
Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And we started talking about, well, what could we write? And the first play we wrote is a play called Ashes, which is available on Amazon, by the way. And
Uh-huh.
that's about a Black American family who returned to Nigeria to bring back the father's ashes. Okay, so it's about the between West Africa and America.
Mhm.
Fast forwarding that, because we don't, I mean, it could go on and on and on. At
Uh-huh.
some point, Umar was tasked with teaching a course in playwriting.
Mhm.
And he and I were spitballing. One of again, the social media is so wonderful. What we got on WhatsApp, we can just talk away. But we were spitballing the ideas. And I suggested he'd do something very un-Nigerian. Nigerian education is old British education.
Oh.
Rote
Oh.
learn. And I said, why don't we go for something experiential? So after I could explain to him what that meant, that it meant writing a play, uh, what we did was we got these students to start out by what did they want in their lives? And of course, 90% of them, and 90, I would imagine 90% of Nigerian, 90% of Africans want to go someplace else. They,
Oh.
whether it's the States or Europe, they want to go someplace where they can have a future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so uh, that was the theme of it. So then we said, okay, let's create a situation, you guys. Why do these people want to go?
Mm-hmm.
So we basically came up with this idea. We're spitballing again, Umar and I, but also him talking with the students, my interacting on emails with the students.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, they did a weekend retreat. His wife cooked for them. All the students gathered. They did a weekend retreat, which, by the way, is a very Ken Weene kind of thing to do.
Uh-huh.
Unheard of in Nigeria. And they worked on this play, The Boat, which is
Mm-hmm.
about a small group of people who are fleeing this island nation
Ah.
and the corruption there.
Yeah.
And at the end of the play, I don't want to spoil the play, but I do. At the end of the play, it turns out that they have to take one more person who's the
Mm-hmm.
governor's son. And so they're coerced into taking him. They have no choice. And that means that one of the people on who are already signed up for the boat cannot get on.
Yeah, and they already paid.
And they've already paid.
Yeah.
And they're debating this, who should be left behind. And of course, one of the people, I don't want to ruin it too much, but anyway, this person, this one character who was about to be left behind, takes out a gun and shoots, and leaving the audience to decide who is shot. Which, by the way, when the play was performed, the community, the college community and the town and all the people who went, for days they were going up to Umar. Who did she shoot? Who did she shoot? Who did she shoot? Okay. And of course, the students also were debating that. And
Uh-huh.
only one of the students came up with an answer that said to me, hey, I've actually taught somebody how to be a playwright. And this one girl said, the audience.
I love it. Yeah.
I knew that young woman, I have no doubt about it, is going to go on to be a very fine playwright.
Mm-hmm.
But if
Well,
you can,
and when I was reading it, I love that kind of ending
mhm,
where you have to guess what's what did they do?
mhm,
Yes. My husband and I watched a movie last night with uh Russell Crowe in it,
uh-huh,
and it ends the same way. He's had memory problems and he's trying to solve this murder from 10 years ago.
right,
And he picks up a gun and he walks out, and that's the end of the movie. And you don't know. You
right.
don't know what he does. It's great.
You're a movie buff, aren't you?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I love movies. A couple of my books have actually people have done movie treatments. And since we're talking about Umar in Africa, why don't we just segue into that?
Yeah.
Because one of the books that I actually co-authored with a fellow named Deng Atem, and Deng was a child soldier in South Sudan.
Oh.
At 8 years of age, he walked across basically the country of South Sudan from its current border with Sudan
Uh-huh.
and down through across the country into Ethiopia, where he was in the camps. And eventually he made his way uh, back into South Sudan, then into Kenya. And from Kenya, he was brought to the United States
Oh.
as a foster child,
Uh-huh.
and just before he aged out. So for
Oh.
like about 10 years, he was this wonder and child soldier. And he came to a writing group that I was helping to lead in Phoenix at the time.
Uh-huh.
I've since moved to Tucson, as you know, but at that time I was up in Phoenix. And he came and he said he needed help writing this book.
Mm.
And I liked the guy, he seemed like he was very honest, and his this experiences he was sharing were powerful experiences.
Yeah.
So I said, look, if you want, I will help you. And you can do it one of two ways. You can say you're writing it with me and put my name on as a co-author, or you can say edited by
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or written by the help of. If you're saying edited by or written by the help with the help of, you have to pay me.
Uh-huh.
If my name is on as an author, my name's on it as an author. That's all payment. So
Uh-huh.
basically, he decided. I mean, he's a working guy. He decided, okay, better to. Well, I think he got the better deal out of it actually. So he and I worked on that book, got it published. I have to say, by the way, if you buy the book, if you look at the book, on the front cover, there's an endorsement by a guy you may have heard of, a fellow named Anderson Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the stories in the book, in this memoir, is Deng meeting Anderson Cooper and another journalist at one of the camps in
Oh,
Kenya.
oh
Okay,
yeah.
fast forward like 30 years, 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Anderson Cooper comes to Arizona. We've now written the book. Okay. Deng goes to hear Anderson Cooper,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to, say something, but of course they're picking people in the audience.
Right.
And so he doesn't get picked, but he hands a note. Could you see if Mr. Cooper can get the note? Deng is walking out of the auditorium, and Anderson Cooper's assistant comes running after him, grabs him. Anderson wants to talk to you. Come back. And Anderson remembered their entire meeting years
Oh,
and years and years ago,
wow.
offered to help with the book. Uh, And I have to tell you, I have not met personally Anderson Cooper, but anybody who thinks of, as I do, that this man just comes across as being just too nice to be believable. He, he's really that nice and concerned and caring. And he had photographs that
Oh,
he had taken on that trip,
oh wow.
not only of Deng, but of all of the other young
Yeah.
people.
Mhm.
And he shared them all with Deng.
Oh wow, cool.
But I mean, to think that he kept them, had them, knew where they were,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Now, what's the name of that book? Because I want to write that down.
Jumping over the ram.
Okay.
And it's a powerful, powerful story. So we got a friend of ours who is a movie writer. He's a fledgling movie writer.
Mhm.
And he's written a script. It did fairly well. He entered in a competition and it did pretty well in the competition. And now we're shopping it around.
Mhm.
And I do actually know some people in the movie industry, and one is supposed to be coming to stay with me in the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to sit on him and make him read the script
Good.
in the hopes.
Yeah, really.
But
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah, isn't it?
Th-
So yeah, I'm a big, big, big movie buff too. But I don't write movie scripts. I write plays. I write stage plays,
Right. Yeah.
and they're really different.
Yeah, they are.
Although, the funny thing is, there's a story about, what's his name? Mario Puzo, the fellow who wrote The Godfather,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that he had never written a movie script. And when they wanted to make The Godfather into a movie,
Mm-hmm.
they wanted him to write the script. So, with no background in writing a movie script, he wrote the script, which of course won Oscars.
Right.
Okay, so then he said, well, to himself, well, I really ought to understand this business a little better if I'm going to continue. So he ordered then the newest book on writing movie scripts. And the introduction to the book said, first, you should go and watch The Godfather. So I'm hoping at some point, all of a sudden, I'm going to be asked to write a movie script, and then that talent will appear.
Well, yeah, I have a friend. She's been on my podcast a couple of times. That's how I met her. Who's a ghostwriter. She's a novelist. And at one point, the first novel that she wrote, somehow a producer read it and contacted her and said, we want to make a script out of this, a movie script out of this, and shop it around. Well, she didn't want to pay the money for a professional scriptwriter. So she learned how to do it herself. And I read both the novel and the screenplay, and I thought she did a really great job because she knew which parts of the book were the most important to put in the screenplay. And and somehow not too long after that, a movie producer she lives in Pocatello, Idaho. So this movie producer moved to not very far from where she lives in Pocatello, Idaho. And they're trying to, yeah, they're trying to sell it. So,
Good.
yeah, I mean, I think that maybe I've heard of other novelists who've turned their books into
Oh, they
screenplays.
have. Yes, another one of my novels also has been a screen. It's called Times to Try the Soul of Man,
Oh,
and it's a true crime novel, and it takes place in New York City
uh-huh.
before 9/11, and it's about police corruption, the mob, but the Mossad is also in it. And
Oh,
the wildest thing is, uh, folks, if you go and buy a copy of Times to Try the Soul of Man, 90% of it is true. And the more wild the part is that you think can't be true, it is true. The business about 9/11, what the protagonist learns is true. The
mm-hmm.
source for him was actually the Mossad agent who had befriended him, yes, going up to Machu Picchu. I mean, this is a story that is beyond comprehension, and yet 90% of it is true.
Wow.
Mhm.
And the
And
FBI didn't show up at your door? I
I'm off limits. That's all other stories. I'm off limits. Okay. I'm kind of protected.
Oh, that's good. Because I
Yeah.
had another guest who wrote one about an actual incident that happened where the NSA created an AI and they sent it out and hoping it would learn something and come back, and it never came back. And that was the impetus for his 3-book series. And when they were going to turn it into a screenplay, the FBI showed up at his door and said, "No, you can't make that into a movie."
Mhm.
So, which
Well,
he was all, "Oh, the FBI's here." He was all excited.
yeah. Actually, I used to do a podcast, and one of my friends from it who's now died was a guy who went by the name Bertie Mac. And
Oh, yeah.
Bertie was picked up, he was a CIA operative who was
Uh-huh.
picked up in Moscow, and he was being beaten up pretty badly. And then he was released and sent back because there was a thing going on where the United States and Russia were about to go to war over a little place called Cuba.
No.
And he became the backdoor channel
Oh.
for that crisis. He ended up being one of John Kennedy's best friends, and his books are out. I mean, if you look for
Uh-huh.
Bert's books
Uh-huh.
on Amazon. Anyway, uh, Bertie and I became friendly, and
Uh-huh.
so I know of some of the ops. And one of the things I do is I talk about things openly.
Uh-huh.
So, for example, I know that just before he died, Bertie's last job as a mercenary, because he's now going freelance,
Uh-huh.
was sinking a boat in the Black Sea. that Russian warship that was sunk.
Oh.
Right. Okay. And I know why he was there. I'm the only one who knows what his plan was.
Uh-huh.
Bertie and I thought alike.
Uh-huh.
And any Ukrainian government official who wants to know how to win the war, that I'll tell him Bertie's plan because Bertie never shared it. But I won't tell anybody else. But
Yeah, well,
these are the kind of weird things that you get involved in
that's
life.
right. Yeah,
So the
right.
CIA steers clear of me because I took them out. I took
Yeah.
the CIA out. They wanted to do something that I knew what they wanted, and I was advising a tribe here in Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
and I blocked the CIA from getting what they want. There was a bounty on my head for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but nobody really wanted to collect it, and the CIA did not get to do what it wanted to do, which was horrifically wrong and
Mm-hmm.
immoral. I didn't say it was immoral. I just told the tribe what they were doing. And the tribe said, no, we don't want to be part of that.
Yeah, really. Oh gosh. Now, I did read some of your poems in the coursing book.
Yeah.
I didn't read all of them because all of a sudden yesterday I got a podcast guest for this afternoon.
Oh,
And he sent me his book, and so I've been trying to read it as well as as well as your stuff. But the first I wanted to say the reason I'm wearing this, because you and I were talking about your wife died in February, is the very first poem, the first part of it reminded me when my mom died. And Barry and I, my husband and I, went up to Washington State because she had been living with my youngest sister before she went to the care. Well, she was in more than one care center, but and so they had all of her stuff. And so when she died, we went up there and we had like three big boxes of photographs. And that reminded me, your poem, the beginning of your poem, your first poem reminded me of that, of sifting. We were there for a week and we sifted through the photographs, and a lot of them had names and dates and on the back. But, if they didn't, I'm the oldest child. And so people, Celeste was saying, do you know these people? No. Or yes, but I can't remember their names. They're church people, or some. So, but yeah, Barry, my husband, we took the scanner up there and he
oh, wonderful.
scanned a whole bunch. So everybody in the family got, a thing with all the photographs on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that reminded me though of going through her photo. And then when we went last June up for my or was it the June before? My niece's graduation from the University of Washington, there was another box of photographs that they had found. So we had to go through those again. Yeah, and she died in February a couple of years ago. So, and one of my guests said Redbirds, she has a book called Redbird and it's about the death of her mother and her aunt.
Oh,
And then we went to a wedding not too long before I interviewed her, and they had these little hearts, and they were to remember all the people who were,
that's
you
very
know,
sweet.
part of their family. And so I thought, oh, for some reason I wanted to wear this today, and that's probably why, because
Hmm.
your wife and
My
my
wife
mom.
self, my wife self-exited. She was not one for going to nursing homes and being in pain. And
Yeah.
she was a very unique person. She was an artist. She
Mm-hmm.
did shows in Paris and in Copenhagen and in New York, of course. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but she was a very whimsical, weird human being, and she lived on totally on her own terms, totally. And
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that keep people have said, anybody who knew her has said to me since, it is that they didn't know anybody else who was as courageous as she. That was the thing that it never occurred to them that she wouldn't when she would talk about it,
Yeah.
because she was such a
Mm-hmm.
courageous and self-directed human being.
Yeah.
which was a good thing because I needed an anchor. So now I'm a little bit less anchored. Uh, People are trying to keep me anchored, but one of the things I'm coming up with, one of my favorite authors of all time was John Steinbeck.
Hmm.
I started reading when I was a kid, a little kid. I mean,
Hmm. Hmm.
I remember I was in like grade school when I read Grapes of Wrath.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And yeah,
Usually high school students read that.
yeah, no, no, no. Well, I was a precocious reader. Um, I was reading Steinbeck and Dos Passos and Sinclair and, you know, politically minded authors like that. Anyway, in fact, Steinbeck lived on Shelter Island in
Hmm.
Long Island, New York. Shelter Island's a little island in the
In the
uh,
Hudson? Is it in the middle
no,
of the
no, no.
Hudson?
It's on. If you go out Long Island, Long Island breaks into the North,
Oh,
and
right.
it's right in the middle there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And on this in this town on Shelter Island, there was a bookstore called Canio's. Canio was a man,
Uh-huh.
and Canio had this bookstore that Steinbeck frequented,
Hmm.
and it was known for being Steinbeck's
Bookstore.
bookstore.
Hmm.
So I went out there one day with my wife. We went out to, and we just took a day trip. We lived on Long Island, and I
Uh-huh.
walked in and I introduced myself to Mr. Canio, and we talked a little about Steinbeck, et cetera. And I told him I write. At that point, I was only writing poetry,
Uh-huh.
and he invited me to do a reading
Oh,
at Canio's bookstore. What he didn't tell me at that point, but did tell me when I did the reading, was that he was selling the store. It's the Canios is still there, but Canio himself is not. Of
yeah.
course, he would be now anyway. But he was. That was I did the last public reading at
Oh,
Canio's bookstore, owned by when it was owned by Canio.
oh,
Isn't that a lovely little coda to add to the
oh,
story?
yes.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway, Steinbeck's one of his books that most people are not familiar with is a book called Travels with Charlie.
Hmm.
He took his dog
Yep.
and he went around the country.
Yeah.
Well, I don't drive anymore because, as you learned today firsthand, my head gets kind of fuzzy and I forget things very easily. So I decided I was going to take my trip around the country this fall, but I'm going to use Amtrak.
Oh, yes. I always wanted to do that.
Okay. So my goal right now is first I'm going to fly out to San Diego to start the
Yeah.
trip.
Hmm.
Okay. And then I'm going to get a California pass
Uh-huh.
because that gives you a certain amount of time to you, and you can go in and out of all the places in California
Uh-huh.
instead of using up your Amtrak pass.
Right.
Then I'm going to probably get a ride up to Portland, Oregon,
Hmm. Hmm.
and start my adventure there because I've been to Portland, but I never really spent time there.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to kind of ride a middle class hobo experience, right? On
Are you going to go up
a
to
rail
Seattle?
car. Huh?
Or are you going to go up to Seattle?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I might go to Seattle. I have been to Seattle a couple times.
Hmm.
Part of it is also where people are going to invite me to stay with them. Now,
Of
if they don't, I'll
course.
stay in a hotel, I'll stay in a whatever. But I would, because you can't just stay on the train. I mean, that'd be
No.
fascinating, but it would be a one-dimensional book.
All right.
So
You're right. Yeah.
I'm hoping, and I have gotten some invitations. Like I know one of my very dear friends in Sacramento has already said, "You
Oh,
damn well better stay here, or I'm going to come hunt you down."
that's great.
So,
Yeah.
hey, folks, if you listen to this please reach out to me. I'm on Facebook. I'm easy to find because I am the only Kenneth Weene in captivity. The only Kenneth Weene. Isn't that what
Wow.
my parents did some nasty things to me, but that's one of the good things. I have a name that's so unique that if you go and Google me or look for me on LinkedIn or wherever,
Yes.
there I'll be.
You're the only one. Yeah, my husband and I used to live in Portland. We lived there for 15 years after we got out of college.
Mm,
And I was actually, my mom and dad were married there, so they had her sister and her mom and stepfather lived there, and sister and her family. And so when Barry and I, mom and dad by then were living in Bremerton, Washington. But when we
Oh,
got
I
out of
love
college,
that.
yeah, uh, we moved to Portland because we
Uh-huh.
had family there, and it was close enough that we could go visit mom and dad on the weekends,
Right.
and my sisters, who were not married when we moved out to Portland yet.
Mhm.
But there's a big gap between. There's 8 years between my brother, who's 2 years younger than me, and the older of my two younger sisters.
Oh,
So I'm 13 years older than my youngest sister. So it was basically mom and dad had two families.
sounds like
Yeah, but
my
yeah,
parents had two
we go
families
back.
too. My parents had two families too.
Oh, they did.
I have a brother who's 13 years, who's I'm sorry, 3 years older than I am, and he
Uh-huh.
was an only child.
Uh, oh, I hope that didn't mean your parents didn't love you.
Oh, come on, folks. Hey, you got to read my books, pick up who this guy is, read memoir from the Asylum. There's a lot of autobiographical stuff in there. I'm as crazy as I sound.
So that'll be easy when they now are your books on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and Apple Books and
Yeah,
yeah.
Amazon, and they have their audio. Hey,
Oh,
we haven't
good.
talked about the Arizona Authors Association.
Yes. Now wait a minute. I want to say you're the only Ken Weene with an E on the end of
Right.
Weene, and so they can go and find your books and find you. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and please, I know I take writing very personally. So if you go looking, if you find me on Facebook or something like that, and want to message me, or you find my webpage and try and message me on that, usually it comes through or something. Please do. I mean, I will respond. If you have questions about a book or you have questions about what, I will respond. I love my readers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
also love other authors. And so
Yes.
let's talk for a couple minutes about that because
Yeah.
they're paying me the big bucks. I do it as a volunteer. Uh, but the Arizona Authors Association is a group of, it's an organization of authors. I mean, we write, we support one another, we have a journal that it's fairly good quality. We have a contest once a year that's fairly good quality. We have Zoom classes. In
Mhm.
fact, I was just I'm trying to set up one. Interesting, because one of the things about associations is they tend to age.
Mhm.
Okay. And I have a thing about age. Okay. So I am now trying to get some Zoom classes on writing graphic novels, anime, stuff like
Oh,
that
yeah.
for the association because I want to bring in the young authors.
Right.
Now, let me explain that to you. Okay, a couple of years ago, I had a birthday and I turned this many years old. And I am going to be this many years old forever. And the reason that I had to turn this many years old, I had been this many, but I wasn't allowed to use scissors or knives. And my wife wanted me to
Yeah.
start to do more cooking and things. So she said I had to turn this many years so that I could use scissors and knives.
He's holding up six fingers.
Yeah. Biologically, according to the clock,
Uh-huh.
a lot older than that. Let's give you a hint. Born before the United States entered World War II.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa. So,
And I thought I was old.
okay, and it's funny because I used to do an open mic. I used to do an open mic in Phoenix at the
Uh-huh.
Herberger Theater, which is the big theater there. I mean, it was pretty special. And we had this one gold crotch who came in and I go first. Why do you go? I'm the oldest. And I looked at him, I said, how old are you? And he told us, and I started to laugh, and my co-host started to laugh. My co-host was years older, 4 or 5 years older than I am. And we were well older than this guy. And I
Yeah.
said, "Hey, Sonny, take your turn or leave." So anyway, I'm that many, many years biologically, but mentally, I try and stay this many.
Yeah, right.
And my concern is that associations, whether it's the Arizona State Authors Association or the Arizona Poet Society,
Mhm.
that we age. And I want to keep that from happening.
Right.
Okay. So one of the things I've been doing is trying to reach out all through this part of the state, down here around Tucson,
Mhm.
going to events, talking to people, trying to get young people involved,
Mhm.
trying to get them convinced that if they want to work with the written word, now I'm going to come back to that written part. If they want to work with the written word, that there's a place for it and there's a place for them. Of course, we're not necessarily talking about written on pages anymore
Mhm.
because we're talking about people who do performance art. We're
Mhm.
talking about people who do the poetry slams,
Mhm.
which, by the way, I've gone to, have judged. I love poetry slams. We're talking about people who get up on stage and perform. Hey,
Mhm.
I write. I don't write for people to read. I write when I Umar and I write a play. We're writing, and by the way, as you know, there are parts of, I don't remember how much on my YouTube channel, but there are parts of the boat. I know the song is up there,
Mhm.
the love song.
Was there more than, but there's more than one song in that play, isn't there?
Yes,
The
there is.
boat.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
some, yeah. But the students, okay, then remember now we're talking Nigeria. The
Right.
students decided that they were going to make a film of that song
Oh.
after the course ended, after their grades were in, and dedicated it to Umar and to me, but to Umar, as a
Oh,
way of
that's sweet.
saying, you really changed us, you really taught us. And when I taught, because I used to love to teach, adjunct teach psych out in
Mhm.
New York.
Mhm.
I'm a psychologist, by the way, folks. And I always, it just was so wonderful for me
Mhm.
when a student would come and say, you changed my life in some way.
I know. Yeah. Because I used to be a teacher too.
Yeah. And boy, when you have that effect on
I
somebody,
know. I
it's so
know.
powerful. And so that's why we write too, isn't it? I
Mhm.
mean, you read my poem about photographs and boxes in the attic.
Mhm.
Okay. And it brought something to you and helped you to remember and think about something in your life.
Mhm.
I don't know whether every one of my poems or every one of my stories or is going to touch every person. And one of the things I find fascinating is I've had people who've read, say, 6 of my books, told me 3 were great, 1 was okay, and they couldn't finish these 2. And that's okay
Mhm.
because I'm not writing to be have everybody read every word. I'm writing to have my words affect people.
Yes.
So if that book really affected you, then I count that a victory. If that book didn't affect you, please go read some book that will. It doesn't
Yes.
have to be one of mine.
Yeah.
Read a book that's going to make your life, watch a movie that's going to make your, read a poem, go to an event, go to a play that's going to make your life richer.
Yeah. 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 Now you were talking about Steinbeck. I'm going to go back to that for a minute because when I was teaching high school, had to teach. I taught theater or drama for the first 2 years, and then somebody wanted my job, and so I was maneuvered out of that job, and I had to go to the border town, Douglas, to teach English, which my degrees are in theater. But I had enough literature credits that I could be a highly qualified English teacher. And I was teaching American Lit, and we read portions of that memoir by Steinbeck of his travels. Instead, I don't know why we didn't read. We read Of Mice and Men. That was
Everybody, yeah, mice and men, everybody now because mice and men is actually more relevant today, especially when we're talking about the spectrum and all of those things than Grapes of Wrath.
well,
Well,
the Grapes
who
of Wrath.
knows? Now, yeah, now I'm looking at all the homeless people in the wash down here, and I'm saying to myself, maybe it's time for the Grapes of Wrath to come back.
Again, yeah,
But
yeah.
of course,
Well, and we read it out loud because they didn't have enough books to take home to read at night. So we were and it's a short book.
yes, it is. It's a wonderful, and it was been written as a play, as a stage play. I've seen it perform. Anytime anybody is doing a stage performance of Mice and Men,
Mhm.
I will go. I have seen that play 4 or 5 times at least,
Yeah,
and it is one of the most human and humane pieces of literature.
I think so too. Yeah, we did watch the Gary Sinise, John Malkovich movie version
Yeah,
after we read the book.
I've watched that too. It's interesting because we're talking about movies and stage plays and things. And of course, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest
Oh yeah,
is a very powerful book.
yeah.
And almost everybody I talk to, at least of a certain age, has seen the movie. Have you
Hmm.
ever seen the stage play?
I've never seen the stage play of that.
Okay, I saw.
I Yeah, I don't think that we used to go when I went to college in undergraduate in Southern Iowa, and we'd go up to Minneapolis to the Guthrie.
Yeah.
I don't think they did that. And then I don't think I ever saw it in Portland when I was working in the theater in Portland.
Uh-huh. Um, I'm blocking it. Oh yeah. Okay. I had the privilege of watching the
Stage play.
stage production
Uh-huh,
of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest,
uh-huh.
starring James Earl Jones,
Oh wow.
not as McNulty,
Uh-huh.
as the Indian.
Oh yeah.
Book is about the Indian.
Yes.
The movie is about McNulty.
Right.
Okay.
I I think I've read the book because I lived in Oregon, I think, when that movie came out.
Mhm.
And yeah,
It's
but it's
about,
been so long I don't remember. Yeah.
yeah, it's all written from the Indian's perspective.
So the stage play, I hope, is that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a scene in which the Indian
Uh-huh.
is talking to the voices in the pipes. And even now, thinking, and this is probably 30 years ago, because, whatever.
Uh-huh.
To this day, I think about that scene and the words fail me. I just am transported back there. That moment. And that moment was actually when I decided to go back and write not my first published prose novel, but my first actually worked on prose novel, which is Memoirs from the Asylum,
Mm-hmm.
and is very much, as I said earlier, very autobiographical. Um, and that scene, and so I guess that's what I'm saying about the written word and the power of words in whatever form, that when they hit you that way, they change your life. And I went out of that theater saying to my wife, I'm going to go back to writing that book that I started years ago when my cousin committed suicide. And it is a book dedicated to my cousin's suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And it is about his suicide,
Mm-hmm.
but it isn't. you know, um, just throwing that out. And so that that moment, or that theater moment, is
Mhm.
what drove me to go back and write this book that, was eating in my innards
Yeah.
for some time.
Yeah. Yeah, I have memories like that too, or memories of plays that I was in. Um, the
I, I did I did tech. I did box office. My thing in theater was box office.
oh.
I was the business geek. I was the one who would sell the ads, that made it possible for that college theater to do that play.
Yeah.
I didn't get any credit for, nobody, oh, wow, yay. Except when I would go to the party, the cast party, they'd all thank me. But while they were rehearsing, I'd be out selling ads.
Uh-huh. That's great. Yeah. You need those people too. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've acted and or directed. I think the last play I directed was Measure for Measure.
Uh-huh,
I'd never directed a Shakespeare play before, and I met Dave Dahl, who was a professional actor, and he'd done Measure for Measure 7 times, and his father just happened to live in Sierra Vista. I was
uh-huh.
teaching at the college at the time,
Mhm.
and it just happened to be right around the time when Harvey Weinstein thing happened, and he offered to help me, and then we became collaborators until I left and he took over my classes. So,
Would you like a wild Harvey Weinstein brothers story?
oh yeah, tell me.
This is a strange story. Okay, but in order to do this, I have to explain. I have a son
Uh-huh,
who is turning 60. He is neither biologically nor legally our son.
uh-huh,
When David was 9 years old, which would be 50 years ago,
uh-huh,
his parents brought him to see me as a shrink. And David said, finally talked to me. He wouldn't talk for days. Then he tested me out. And then he said to me, I need a father, and you're it.
oh,
He didn't want to shrink. He wanted a father. I later learned why, and it's pretty heartbreaking and meaningful. And anyway, it's now 50 years later.
uh-huh,
Uh, I talk to him every couple days. I mean, when my wife left us, he was here that night, and stayed with me for almost 2 weeks. I mean, he's a good son. He's a
yeah,
good son, and I'm
yeah,
very lucky. Uh, but anyway, David went in to film and video.
mhm,
Okay. And David is pretty special. He's incredibly bright, incredibly talented, fairly dyslexic. So school was never his thing. But you show him how to do something, and he'll figure out a better way to do it. So David had a company that he was doing films, and one of the things he did was wedding films.
oh,
So he gets a call from a woman
mhm,
saying she'd like to come out and talk to him about doing a wedding.
uh-huh,
Okay, that's my bread and butter. Sure, come set up the appointment. And she comes and she doesn't tell him her name. She just introduces herself by her first name, and I'm doing this. I promised my husband, that I'd find somebody for for his brother. His brother is getting married. We have plenty of money. We want the best videographer in the New York area.
uh-huh,
And we've been told to check you out. So he showed her his sample clips, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of this discussion, she says, now I'm going to come clean. I'm going to tell you my name. She says, my last name is Weinstein. My brother in law is getting married.
mhm.
Okay. We own Miramax Films. We want you to do the video, not any of our people, because you're better.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
course, this was before the whole scandal broke, and
Oh yeah.
it's not something he goes about raving about. Wow,
Right.
but isn't that a wild
That
story?
is, yeah. Well,
Identified.
and I should say that Measure for Measure is Shakespeare's like Harvey Weinstein situation.
It is
It's
indeed.
the Me Too. In fact, that's what it says on the poster. I had one of the students at the college, one of the graphic arts students, create the poster,
Which
and
college?
behind Isabel the nun, it says Me Too, Me Too, Me Too, Me Too, Me Too.
Which college?
Cochise
Oh,
College.
oh, community college. Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I was teaching at first when I first started on the Douglas campus, which is the original campus.
Yeah.
But the Sierra Vista campus has been renovated and it's got the largest population now. So they had well, they didn't have to, but they did. They didn't have enough money, so they cut out the plans for the theater. So we did the play in the library uh, commons. There's a large space in the library commons, and
Well, some of the
eh,
best theater is done
well,
that.
there and out on the outside the library because it was May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the very best theater is done that way, or where the play takes place in the audience, at least in part.
Yeah.
I've seen a Macbeth that was done in a very, very tiny theater, and a lot of the action took place in the middle of the audience,
Oh, I
and
love that.
it was fabulous,
Oh yeah.
fabulous.
Oh yeah.
Too bad you're not still teaching theater. You could have
Well,
one of my plays for free
oh
you
yeah.
could do the world premiere of one of Umar in my plays.
Well, you can contact Dave Dahl. He's still teaching there, I think. And
Yeah.
yeah, and there's a Sierra Vista Community Theater. He's involved in that too.
Could you send me his contact information?
Sure, and I'll tell him that I sent you. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
please. Oh, that would be so much fun, and especially because it'd be close enough that I could,
Yeah.
actually. Oh, I would,
And the plays they pick for the Sierra Vista Community Theater are really they're so great.
mm,
So, yeah, so it's either one or both
wow.
of those places. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Omar, I know that you're not listening, but wow, wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah, really. He does, and he's done really interesting adaptations of Shakespeare because he's a Shakespeare expert.
Uh-huh.
And one of them that he did, one of the first ones he did at the college was Twelfth Night,
Uh-huh.
and he used modern Christmas songs in
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and that's the one we did in the Commons. The Measure for Measure we did out on the library steps, and there's like a
Yeah.
patio kind of area just outside the library and outside the student union between the one, and that's where we did Measure for Measure. But in 12th night, that was so fun. They wore regular everyday clothing,
Mhm.
and then he did a really fun version of A Midsummer Night's Dream for the community theater, and he set it in Haight Ashbury, and the fairies are smoking pot. And again, music from the 60s, and yeah, so that was a really fun um version too. But they just pick really great plays. So yeah, I'll connect him up with you.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to remember my friend's name. Oh, unfortunately, I tend to have these glitches. Gabbridge. Yep, that's it. Have you ever heard of Patrick Gabbridge?
No.
Okay, he is a New England-based playwright,
Uh-huh.
and Patrick's speciality is site-specific theater.
Oh,
So, like you were saying you were in Douglas.
yes.
Okay, now I've been to Douglas.
Uh-huh.
Douglas is a fascinating town.
It is.
It is this big, big, wide street, and nothing is going down that street. I mean, the town is dead, but they have like a 6 lane street.
Well, it used to be really prosperous
It
when they
used
were
to
this,
be
yeah, it's for the smelter for the mine in Bisbee.
great. So
Yeah.
anyway, in the hotel, there is a step where Pancho Villa, when he invaded the United States,
Right.
he rode into the hotel and his horse supposedly wax there, and I had always thought, wouldn't it be fun to do a site-specific play in Douglas,
Yes.
Pancho invasion?
Yeah, and the Gadsden Hotel is very famous because it's supposed to have ghosts.
Oh yeah, I slept there. I
Yeah.
slept.
I
Okay,
did too once. Yeah,
yeah,
I did too.
yeah.
When
We
we
went.
were having teacher meetings and I didn't want to drive an hour because it's an hour from our house to
Yeah.
Douglas.
It used to be. I don't know if they still do. They used to have a little authors bookstore in Douglas at the hotel. And
Oh.
I went down to one, and that's why
Uh-huh.
Roz and I went down and we stayed in the hotel. And oh, yeah, it was fun. And I got, oh, great story, folks. This is the kind of reason why I mentioned the CIA doesn't like me. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story like that,
Okay.
just to fill out some fun here.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, I go into the restaurant in the hotel to have lunch, and one of the other authors is there, somebody I know, and he's having lunch with another guy. And so they call, hey, Ken, you want to come join us? Sure. So I shake, yeah, what do you do? I mean, I know he's an author. What do you do? He says, I'm a drug smuggler.
Whoa.
Okay. He says, yeah. I said, so he starts talking to me about his drug smuggling. Now, he does not carry the drugs himself.
Right.
He will never be convicted of drug smuggling, okay, because he does not carry drugs. He just goes back and forth setting things in place. And he said to me, he says, you Americans just don't understand any of it. So this is another place-specific play I'd love to write, but it's, again, like Times to Try the Soul of Man. It's totally reality.
Yeah.
He says, here's how it works. He says, I can go in any street in Mexico, and for $100, I can buy drugs that when they come across the border are worth $10,000.
Wow.
Now, understand, if that 10,000, if those drugs get picked up in this country, that's the first thing you have to understand. They get picked up here in the United States. It
Mhm.
says $10,000 worth of drugs. So
Mhm.
it makes it sound like it's really valuable.
Mhm.
But it only cost me 100. Which brings up the next thing. He says, what do I do with the drugs? He says, first of all, I'm not smuggling it across the border the way they're telling you. I'm not bringing it across, having people carry it across. It's too much work. For $100, the worst that could happen is it's going to get confiscated.
Right.
Okay. The guy will get sent back. They won't arrest him because it's too much trouble. And then we won't send him again, at least for a while and through that. He says, but we'll come back to that. Now, he says, I send it in cars, like any other sane businessman would do.
Mhm.
The trick is the cars cannot drive all the way up to Phoenix or even to Tucson because they'll get stopped. So we just drive a little way and then we hand the drugs off. We hand them off to the people who are on our payroll, who are in, who own homes here, who own ranches, whatever. They're not taking them, they're getting paid as like a post office.
Mhm.
They're not touching the drugs. They're just letting us put their in the box. Now, somebody else comes. A few days later, we do it so it's staged, so nobody knows. They come, they pick up that box, and they drive it up to Tucson with an American registered vehicle, American person behind the wheel.
Uh-huh.
He says, now what's upsetting me and why I'm here is we're hearing about these gunfights.
Oh.
He says, understand something. Any Mexican drug runner stupid enough to carry a gun into the United States should be shot. Let me explain. The worst that can happen is If they are arrested and actually tried and put in jail, they are jailed for like 3 years, which means they're out in a year and a half to 2 years. Okay. If they have a gun, their minimum sentence is 10 years. For $100, would anybody be stupid enough to get themselves locked up for 10 years? And think about it this way. If my man gets locked up, I'm responsible for his family. Do you think I want to be responsible for his family for 10 years over $100 worth of drugs? No Mexican drug runner is bringing a gun into the United States. Oh, then who's having these shootouts? Do you know who's having the shootouts? Do your listeners know who's having the shootouts?
They can guess.
The Sheriff's Department and the Border Patrol.
Oh, yeah.
What are they fighting about? Not the drugs. They're not trying to recover the drugs. They're fighting about who gets the payment. That rancher is paying somebody for protection.
Right.
That's what the fight is about.
Ah.
Sorry, folks, your taxpayer dollars at work.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why the CIA and people like that don't like me, because I say things like this. But I have no reason to disbelieve this guy. Well, he's not, he doesn't know that I'm going to tell this story years later on your podcast.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But you see, one of the things I learned along the way is that the corruption is often at the top. So go back and read Times to Try the Soul of Man, folks. When you're reading that, it really is pretty horrific, where the corruption starts.
Yeah.
And who are the corrupt people. And
Right.
by the way, some of that is fictional, by the way, but a lot of it isn't. 90% is true. But what I want to tell you is that the job of writers, whether it's Ken Weene or John Steinbeck or William Shakespeare, to put myself in trifling company, our job is to get you thinking and feeling and imagining the world so that you connect to it in a different way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting teaching there. I loved the school district because the school district in Sierra Vista was not a very fun place to work. It's kind of a toxic work environment. I don't know what it's like now. It might be different now. But Douglas was very supportive because the parents wanted their children to succeed.
I think they wanted their children to succeed, but also I think that the people in a town like Douglas want their children to think.
Yeah.
I think I sadly, having spent a lot of time on Long Island, I often had the feeling that the vast majority of New York, that is, the vast majority of the parents wanted their kids to get into good colleges. They didn't really care if the kids could think.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
I am very dedicated to the whole idea that we are thinking creative creatures, that we, I'd like to think I'm as smart as a bonobo or a dolphin. I may not be, but I would like to think that I'm smarter than a squirrel or an Airedale.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, and I think that's why I love stories so much, is because you can learn so much
Mhm.
but you have to ask the questions. You have to ask questions about why the characters are doing what they're doing, and be curious. And I'm curious about people too. That's why I started the podcast.
Yes.
And it's interesting that your writer friend is having a conversation with a drug runner, and the drug runner is so open to talk to you.
Oh,
But
they were buddies.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they probably were.
Oh
And
no, but I
maybe,
can tell you why, but I won't, because that would identify people.
yeah, no. But yeah, so I mean, it's interesting to find out why people do what they do and make the choices that they make.
Mhm.
And sometimes people make choices just because they have to survive, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah. So open your hearts and your minds, folks.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah.
if you're thinking about writing, one last little plug, because I sure we must be out of time by now. But one last little plug. If you're thinking about writing, if you're interested in writing, whether it's to self-publish, find a publisher, whatever,
Mhm.
look up the Arizona State Authors Association.
Mhm.
Arizona Authors Association, AAA. We're online. Join. If you live in the southern part of Arizona, then your email will be sent to me, and I'll start pestering you and telling you all the good things I'm doing. But also the state association will pester you. And if you don't live here, but we have members. We have members all over. By the way, this year I recruited one new member for our association in the past year,
Mhm.
that I want to brag on. Her name, you might have heard. You might have heard her name. Her name is Barbara Kingsolver.
Oh, wow.
So when I
Yeah.
say we're a good association, we're a
Yeah.
pretty good association.
Well, doesn't she have a couple of books that are set in Arizona?
Oh yeah, she's got connections here in Arizona, and
Yeah.
that's I reached out to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, a friend of her. I am a very good friend of a friend of hers. Mhm. And I said, "Gee, we would love to have you as a member, just because you are."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Oh, this has been so fun. Do you have anything you want to say before we go?
Please read, read, read. And if you buy books, okay, this is for every author everywhere. If you buy a book and you read it, review it. Go on Amazon, go on Barnes, go wherever you can and review it, because your reviews matter. Even if your review, and I tell people, I've had people say to me, Ken, I didn't like this book. That's okay, review it anyway.
Yeah.
You don't have to give me 5 stars. I can live with a 1-star review as long as it's honest. Because there
Yes.
are lots of 5-star reviews from people who love the book.
Yeah. Right.
And yeah, but if what I need is the review. I need the world talking about my books. And so does every other author, every playwright, every poet, uh, every
Mm.
screenwriter. We all need that. That's what we live for.
Yeah. Right. Is Yeah, it's feedback. Feedback. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for being my guest.
Well, thank you for having me. And it's really been a pleasure.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I hope you not only enjoyed this episode but gained something valuable to take away with you. If you like what you heard, please share it with your friends and give us a rating and/or review. If you're a story lover too, I invite you to join my Patreon community at patreon.com/storypower, all one word. Or you might be interested in classic cinema with the Sage Sisters, a YouTube channel and Facebook page I started with my sister Celeste, where we choose one classic movie that we think still has lessons for us today. As you can see, I'm passionate about spreading the love of stories and completely believe what Philip Pullman said. After nourishment, shelter, and companionship, Stories are the thing we need most in the world. Until next time, this is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden. Thanks for listening.